All right, welcome back, everybody. One of the things I wanted to talk about with Steve is, Steve had such a great real estate business and was so good at doing research for your clients on properties. Steve presented his listing presentation to us as a group, and we posted some of his information up online. So it's on our website in that new agent hub in the professional development section. We talked about that at the AGE. So you'll see his sample there. But doing subject property research, here's what we're talking about is you're going in to list a property, you're going to do a CMA, and you have the seller's home that they live in currently, the property that you're going to be doing the evaluation on is the subject property. Now, this is not just applicable to sellers, but also when you're going to put an offer on a property, that becomes a subject property that you're comparing it to. The first thing you want to do, and we actually alluded to this in our negotiation, is you're walking around the property, gathering research, but anytime you're going to put an offer on, you want to get as much research done as possible. Find out how much this person does owe on the mortgage. Find out, anything you can. So having a very keen eye and ear and, listening to what happens is all part of this. But we're going to give you guys some strategies here to do some subject property research. So Steve, why don't you kick us off here?
Well, it really ties into our last segment on negotiations as well, because if you're looking down the road at negotiations and what people can bring up, then you want to cover every angle, like your M&M analogy.
Totally.
And take that away from them so that you're prepared for that potential, if they try and bring up something about the back alley being paved and versus not paved, for example.
That's right. Maybe the local improvement levy or whatever else. Yeah.
So first off, starting by gathering as much information from the client as possible and asking a ton of questions.
That's right, and even having this prepared in advance where you know the questions you're going to ask. You're sitting down at the listing presentation, you're talking to the person, probably on the phone, even beforehand too, is just trying to get as much information as possible.
Well, both our listing packages and our buyer's packages have the questionnaires in them, and if you send those over as some pre-marketing, and they're filled out before you actually get to the appointment, you're 95% of the way there, and it's yours to lose.
Totally.
But those questionnaires are probably the most important things in there.
Yeah, and your seller may have heard about stuff. Obviously, if you're representing the buyer on the buyer side, you can ask the realtor a lot of these questions. They may not have all the answers, but certainly when you're going to be listing a property, the seller's going to give you as much information as possible. They're going to be trying to put their property in the best light, but I've seen many people who are very honest too. They're just like, listen, we're getting out of here because that back part was just zoned and Stony Trail. We saw the maps and it's going to be butting up there. Now that's publicly ready information. That's not a material latent defect, but it's good to know the perspective when you are trying to position this property and price it versus one that's down the road a little bit and Stony Trail will not be passing by it.
I've had clients that the top 10 favorite things about your home that you create your marketing about, and they're like, I hate everything about this place. So I asked them to put in the top 10 things they hate about the home because one man's trash is another man's treasure.
There you go.
And you can put the same spin on things because people are going to be buying it for the reasons that home is.
Oh yeah, if someone said, I hate this home, it's too chopped up, every single room is like independent. That's like Kirsten's dream house. It's like, what?
Yeah.
All these little nooks and crannies that I can go into? Yes, perfect. So it's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
So let's start by pulling title.
Absolutely. What are you looking for on title?
Any sort of registrations, caveats, liens, lis pendens, any sort of thing that is going to create issues down the road.
Yeah, restrictive covenants. What can you not do to that property is absolutely imperative. And I'll tell you guys right now, first of all, just a side note, we don't have this on here. If they have a copy of their RPR right away, you need to see it. That's great. Or you're telling them to order it right away, but you might not have it right out of the gates. But pulling title, man, you guys need to see that information. When you're representing the buyer, spend $10, pull the damn title, and pull the title history to take a look at that. So the registration, pull the history on title is absolutely key because now you're going to find out what the person owes, what they can or can't do, and if you can't see it, keep it in the marketplace. But I don't ask the realtor for title. Some people say ask the realtor for it. If I'm writing the offer and spin is closed, I will ask them for a copy, but I will also maybe put a 24-hour condition in or make it as part of my home inspection. I'm going to pull title as well.
To review.
I'm not just going to rely on their expense. I like what Steve said about keeping the offer clean. I will pull title during my home inspection as part of my due diligence process.
Right, and like the registrations, if your client wants a privacy screen fence and you can't put anything but a chain link fence in,
That's right.
there's an issue.
My dog can jump chain link fences, and we literally looked at that as something that we're looking at back onto a green space or something. The architectural controls there,
Yeah.
You can't put anything else in. So
Doesn't
our
work.
dog would be out of our yard in an instant.
Yeah. For condos, you'd want to pull the CAD sheets and the condo plans.
Absolutely.
I know you've got an interesting story about a condo plan where you discovered some extra square footage for a client.
Yes, huge. Obviously in the condo plan, you see the footprint, and I shared in my condo course, but we found a storage room that they were using for the management company was using it. And it was actually our realtor. We were buying the property, and I noticed it when we were buying it. I didn't tell the realtor about it, but we ended up knocking out the wall, taking it back from the condominium unit, knocking out the wall and making it a den and an office. So we had this extra room off there that wasn't available, but on the condominium additional plan sheet, that's the only place you're going to find out if you have the current up-to-date bylaws. You'll find out if there are any registration against the corporation. Is anybody suing that? Because you're buying a share in a corporation. Do you want to know if that corporation is being sued? That's pretty important. So you pull the CAD sheet just like you would pull title, and just pull them both at the same time. Pull all three at the same time.
If their landscaping company's suing them for not getting paid, then what else aren't they paying?
Exactly. Great point. Great point. Continue on.
Pulling the City of Calgary tax assessments, the property information or the property database, the CREB maps, looking for permits. 311 is a great use for this. So
Absolutely.
just compiling all the information and seeing what actually lines up. Maybe there's something out of place.
And we're kind of combining two here when we say, pull the tax assessment as well as CREB maps. And people say, oh, but CREB maps has a tax assessment. Be very careful about the timing. I don't know CREB's data flow, but I have seen them have out-of-date tax assessments.
Right.
So make sure that you are pulling that information. And people say, well, where do I find the tax value? Well, you can call the city and find out the tax rate that's actually happening, or the mill rate as they call it. You can find the tax rate, and then you multiply that value by the assessment value, and now you know the annual taxes.
Right.
It's very simple. They won't tell it to you. They'll say, oh, we can't share that information. Great, well, do you have the tax rate? Great. Do you have the city assessment? Yes. Multiply the two together, and that gives you the annual taxes. So anyways, looking at this is you want to make sure you are pulling the property database, CREB maps, as well as that. Steve, talk to us about zoning for a second. And how you would pull that. Is that on CREB maps actually?
CREB maps has it. Again, City of Calgary would be the most relevant and current information, but CREB maps does. The property database should have some zoning information. For zoning with a specific property, I would be looking at highest and best use and what potential would be down the road for that type of property.
Good call. Very good call, actually.
Seeing what kind of zoning is around the property. And we were actually just chatting about this with the golf course up north, the Hamptons, and checking the zoning of the golf course itself and what all the homes were backing onto would have been a good idea because now they're redeveloping that golf course.
And Googling it. I mean, Shawnee Slopes went same thing. And even if it is zoned for that golf course, that's not to say it can't change. Lots of these golf courses are privately owned and operated, and they can sell out. Even, there's lots of golf courses on city lease land. The Winston, or the Elks, formerly of the Elks, is leased land by the city. So theoretically, that could change at some point.
Right.
Now, the likeliness of it, I mean, these are huge leases, but you want to find out that type of information.
It was 4 years ago. We were working on a deal in Wildwood, and multiple offers, and it came down to we were one of the last ones that were in this bidding war type multiple offer situation, and checked the zoning across the street, and they were planning on putting a 5-story building on the west side of the home.
Wow.
So there goes your son.
Yep.
We backed out. Clients were happy, and we actually should have caught it sooner.
Yes.
But lucky that we did catch it. So
awesome. Also, Matrix, pulling past listings, find out what the listing history was on the property. Most people do that, but I like to take a look at the comments of the past listings. I like to take a look at what they had down for square footage and things, because it used to be the Wild West with square footage.
yeah.
I'll measure this and measure that, and now we're trying to tighten it up, but you can't necessarily rely on that up completely yet. The RMS is still pretty new for people.
There isn't a one catch-all for grow-ups,
That's right.
but past listing comments might be a way to uncover that.
Absolutely,
So-
title history as well, but
Yeah.
unless it was registered with Alberta. I mean, I had one, first house I ever sold was a grow-op, and I didn't even know it. It was an accident, and it was to family friends. I got some great horror stories for you guys if anybody wants to take me for a beer. Belgian
You're in
beer.
charge of our training
Yeah,
department?
that's right. Only if you take me for a beer will I give you guys that information. Yeah, but or whoops. That's how I learned. See, I can share all these stories. But it wasn't registered on title as being, it wasn't an Alberta health issue. It was just they had a few plants and the cops kicked in the door.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So, Steve, I want to move on here. We talked about Matrix Pass and our final note here because there's so many things. This is such a huge conversation. Gathering information by walking through the property. Now, this is also on the seller side, but this is even more relevant now when you're representing a buyer. They find a home that they really like. You're walking through the property. What are you looking for?
Anything and everything. Walking through with the buyer's eyes, this is one of the things that I actually really liked attending home inspections for. Now, whenever you're attending a home inspection, you're not inputting your advice and how to deal with any issues, but you get to know how a property works, how it's built, what they're looking for, so then you can start spotting these red flags as you're walking through properties. In addition to not only single-family homes, but condos, the elevators, the notices for any cash calls and upcoming stuff like that. So
Totally, yeah. Condos looking for repairs, looking how other tenants have treated the units or the common property. I also like it where it's like, is there a utility box right out front on the things? Well, where are those power lines running to? Is it running right underneath the house that they want to put a garage in the backyard? And you can look this without even seeing the RPR. You probably can't put a garage there. You probably can't do some certain things. So just look, where are the neighbors' properties going? How close is their stuff to the lawn? There's a whole bunch of information. I love what you're saying. You're not looking through drawers. You're not doing anything like that. But I have seen sellers leave their listing contracts out in their offices, lying on the top of the on their office desk, and you're not flipping through it, obviously. No. But I mean, it's amazing what people leave out. And if you see something attached to the fridge about a neighborhood meeting regarding the rezoning on the back or anything else, pay attention. Just have a keen set of eyes when you're walking through.
Yeah, if you see a bunch of wedding pictures hanging in the home and there's only one alarm clock and there's only her clothes in the closet, might be some motivation there.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, but my thing is too. I always look in if to sell a house is staged or not, or whether it's vacant, because sometimes you can't tell.
Yeah.
Is there fresh food in the fridge?
Food in the fridge.
Food in the fridge. That's it. Because no one puts salad or vegetables or spinach in the fridge when they're staging a property.
Right.
So
one other point, when you're walking through the property and looking for information, if you've got any questions of could this be done to this property, look at the neighbors and just see what else is in the neighbors and even garage sizes and that kind of stuff. See what else is in the area.
Yeah, 311, CREB database, the maps, doing all of them, not just one. Have your little checklist for yourself. You've done your due diligence. And you can make sure that, or you can be confident that you have all the information you need.
Perfect.
So again, Steve, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your knowledge. It's just outstanding.
Yeah, normally it doesn't take that long.
Yeah, I'm on the meeting too, so we just get chatty. But I want to thank you guys. We started a little bit late. We had a little bit of audio issues at the beginning there. We got that done, and we're going to leave you guys with a pretty cool video. I just want to say this video is winning awards left, right, and center. It's about 5.5 minutes long, but sit through it, and it is probably the coolest video that I've ever seen on an explanation of autism. I know that we all have somebody or in our lives who we know, or a friend who has an autistic child or something that is just, this is such a powerful video that I think everybody needs to see. So we want to leave you guys with that. And reminder, no meeting next week. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Have a great week.
Take care.